Okay, let's continue our discussion on the various terminologies that takes place in the cryptocurrency world. Now, moving to ROI, we've discussed all from down from A. We talk about mini stops and then talking about forking, pump and the rest of them. So let's discuss ROI, replicated ledger. So we say blockchain is basically a distributed ledger, right? Now, when you say ledger is like a database where we enter different records and this record have whatsoever information you have. So what basically happens is for a replicated ledger, a transaction was maybe happened in the last 10 minutes and we've already confirmed that the transaction is valid, is true, and the other stuff. We take this transaction and then replicate it. So if I want to understand it and make it very, very simple for you to understand this, what is a ledger? Ledger is basically a database. A database. It could be a computer database. It could be online or offline, right? Now, what does it mean to replicate? To replicate means to produce different copies. So a replicated ledger is basically a ledger that is copied and then that is distributed to different parties. Then you have return on investment. So you want to ask, what is an investment? So investment could be you putting your money or whatever in any asset and then return. So return is, okay, this thing we put our money into, what are the profits? What are the gains? What is the margin? So return on investment is basically saying for a certain asset we've invested money in over a certain period of time. We want to be calculating how much at when did we get into it. Like, okay, let's say for example, let's give a random cryptocurrency now. IOTA is $2.35 now, and then we want to take it to $2.14. So we want to calculate how much was it when we invested. So we invested in it in January, and then we want to calculate the December. Let's say December, the price is $240. So you want to say how many did we buy at this amount in January? Okay, we bought 1,000. So we spent 2,400 to get 1,000 IOTA. Now we want to say, okay, on maybe December, the price is 2,400. So we have $250. Let's be realistic here. So, and we bought 1,000 of IOTA. So this is 1,000 of IOTA, which is this. So you want to divide that by 2,400. So the return on investment is 100 times your money, which is about 10,000% or 100 times return on your money. So that is how to calculate return on investment. Then you talk about repo. So what is repo? Repo is basically a protocol that helps bank makes either faster transaction and the rest of them. I discussed repo in my other video. So it's basically a cryptocurrency that help people transfer money better. And also it's also a protocol that banks can actually implement to make things faster. Then talk about Satoshi. So Satoshi is basically the unit to which Bitcoin is measured. So just like you have your BTC and you say you have your normal dollars and you say 100 cents makes $1. So 100 cents makes $1. So rather than say, okay, BTC, we have Satoshis making up a BTC transaction. So you have 100 million Satoshis making up one BTC. So that is the unit, the fractional unit to which we measure Bitcoin. Then you have Satoshi Nakamoto. So Satoshi Nakamoto is like an entity or entities. I don't know. We don't really know who they are or who that person is that actually created the Bitcoin. So then you have SEC. So SEC has to do with the Security Exchange Commission that has to do with regulating things like securities, assets, and the rest of them. So it's a regulatory body that controls if certain things are legal, that approves them and other stuff. Then segregated weakness is basically a proposed change that was proposed to the Bitcoin network, and say let's increase the block size from 1 megabyte to 2 megabytes to scale up the transaction. And then SHA-256 is a cryptographic hash function algorithm that helps us. I discussed about hash function when we were talking about hash functions. That's okay. You are feeding an input which we call message, and this input has could be of arbitrary size, so it could be of any length. So that's why we say it's arbitrary size. And there's a mathematical transformation or mathematical transformation that happens in the system, and this mathematical transformation actually reduces this input to something that is maybe fixed size. So when we say the SHA-256 is this input of arbitrary size. With the SHA-256, it reduces it to an output that is of length 256. So it's going to return it 256 bits. So SHA means secure hash algorithm 256. Now, what is sharding? So sharding is basically we talk about the issues of replicated ledger. Now, replicated ledger is rather than everybody storing this stuff in their own PC, why not a certain person store a certain part in their own PC to scale up transaction? Then shilling is when basically you see it on YouTube. Let's go on YouTube now. And you see different people, maybe they are pushing something because of personal gains and the rest of them, and they're just pushing this stuff to actually make people maybe for personal gains, and they are pushing a certain currency asset, and then they want people to invest, and because if people invest, it's going to culminate in a higher reward, in that higher value in that cryptocurrency. So people are pushing, when people push stuff for personal gains and the rest of them. So people say, oh, this cryptocurrency, getting, and the rest of them. And then Silk Road is basically a marketplace which the FBI, in case you don't know FBI has to do with the Federal Bureau of Investigation. So they closed down. It's a marketplace that exists in the dark web or the dark net. I covered dark web. So this kind of marketplace that exists in the dark web where they sell illegal stuffs. And there are many reports that Bitcoin and some other cryptocurrencies like maybe Monero or privacy coins where there is zero knowledge proof, you can trace the transaction and the rest of them. And there are silly transactions like the bond messages, like if you send the transaction from this person to this person, once this person receives the message, it's going to be deleted from this part, from this part without interest. So it's a marketplace that is illegal. Then smart contracts, these are contracts that runs on their own based on computer code. They don't need any interference from human party. So you want to understand things like, okay, let me explain it very simple. You have something like contract. Now, what is a contract? A contract is something that involves parties, maybe two parties, and then you have like an entity that is going to serve as an arbiter. Maybe there is someone did not agree to the terms of contract. There is a third party, maybe a judge or an entity that's going to hold one of those, the party that defaulted, and say, okay, you did not actually play to the rules. Okay, this is the punishment for you. But that is for a contract. Now, what is smart? Now, when we talk about smart, most times you have smart grid, smart meters, smart watches, smart this, smart that, and smart that. Now, smart has to do with things that are digital. So anywhere you see smart, you just know that it is something that is digital. So smart contract is basically a digital contract that runs on computers. You program them from the start, and they don't need human intervention to actually work. And then soft fork, we talk about fork. So forks are when we make changes to a certain piece of software, maybe in terms of Bitcoin or whatever cryptocurrencies. So the difference between the hard fork and the soft fork. The hard fork, these are changes you make, but you can't go back in time. You can't align them with the previous code, and they are irreversible. But the soft fork, they are changes you make that you can go back in time and make changes and the rest of them. And then you talk about Solidity. So Solidity is basically a computer programming language that helps people create decentralized applications or smart contracts on the Ethereum network. And then you talk about state sharding. So what is state sharding? State sharding is basically since more transaction has taken place, and why not we move them off the blockchain network and then move them outside, take this transaction outside to increase the speed of other transactions, and then to lower the cost. And then we move them off the chain. When we've actually verified them, we can bring them up. That is what we call state sharding. So I'll be seeing you in the next video. I'll be talking things like testnet and white papers and many other stuff. In a space you want to learn so much. Like I tell people, you want to learn so much that you don't know if you could be the next Jeff Bezos. Like when a lot of people were scampering, and like that was 1994. He saw an opportunity that people could communicate. You saw the .com bubble. People were just like concerned with money, but someone actually sat down and was reasoning and said, okay, what can be done? Does this thing go beyond just the money? And he was able to create something like Amazon. From simple selling of books, electronics came in, pharmaceuticals came in, and a lot of things. He's one of the richest guys in the world today. So when it comes to cryptocurrency, you want to learn so much that, like, there's a cryptocurrency out there. It's called Augur. When I was watching the video when someone was interviewing the guy who created this cryptocurrency, he said that when he created this cryptocurrency, before then he has been meeting people, he has been learning, having meetup, learning and the rest of them. That was the passion was thinking, okay, why not we create something that could be in the predictive market and helping people with forecasting the other stuff. That was how they created Augur. So you don't want to be someone who just be in the space and you're not going anywhere with it, just making, you want to learn so much, and this learning will help you make very, very good decisions. So guys, if this video has been very helpful, you consider sharing with others, and do have a very good day.